ओम सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो Ramakrishnaaya te namaha. We are studying here Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master, second part, as Sri Ramakrishna as the spiritual aspirant or struggler, as sadhak, and we are in the 13th chapter, name of which is Essence of Madhura Bhav. Because unless we understand what is Madhura Bhav, we shall not be able to appreciate Thakur's sadhana. And so Saradananda Swamiji first takes up that. And in the beginning of the chapter he tells, unless you are a sadhak, it is very difficult to understand the sadhak's life. Because the only connection with the outside world, where the whole world dies and calls his heroes and all that, is that the sadhaka comes in touch with the outside world and feels an aversion of that type of base activity and feels for the reality and turns himself inside. The more he comes in contact with the outside world, the more he is pushed inside. And then there is a struggle with the sanskaras of past life. And he is determined to cross those sanskaras. And then there are layers of sanskaras. And he goes deeper and deeper and deeper, finds relation with God, and ultimately goes beyond all sanskaras and finds perfect union or identity with God. Union and then identity with God. Now, the other part we were discussing is that what is the nature of ultimate reality, which all sadhakas have to go, without which there is no actual release from the sanskara, without which there is no sense of fulfillment in life. Though the travelers on the path of bhakti are not clearly aware of it, they set up their own ideals, and then the ideals get pushed away, and the sadhak goes forward and changes the ideals, transforms the ideals, evolution in the ideals, and ultimately reaches the same place. So we must know what is the nature of that same place. And so he has said that it can be looked upon as two things, where all the bhavas merge, vanish, and appears as if it is zero. That is the Bhagavan Buddha's approach. And Shankar says that that is the basis from which all bhavas come. That is the reality from which all the world has come. So that is the ultimate reality from which these different relations also are born. And so now he is trying, and there he told that give up the later Buddhistic acharyas and understand Buddha. And then in the last para we read, para 4, he has told the nature of the non-duality. Let us Start from there. Again, resume that, repeat that para 4. The plane of the non-dual consciousness, plane of the non-dual consciousness, indirectly implied by the words void and all. Void by Bhagavan Shunya, all by Shankaracharya, has been described in the Upanishads. If we go back to the Upanishads, we'll find both. The Vedanta, we have seen yesterday, what is Upanishad is the same as Vedanta, as the state beyond all ideation. Ideation, any idea in the mind is called ideation. And then relation with God also is an ideation. And beyond all ideation is this ultimate reality as a state beyond all ideation. For perfectly established in it, the mind of the aspirant transcends the limits of all other planes of consciousness. All other planes of consciousness, there are limits, and it sadhak transcends. All other planes of consciousness produced by God's play of creation, preservation, and destruction. So this is God's play. That means these things are not real. God appears as this. And so from there, the ideation and all different levels arise. And it crosses all levels. And merges in homogeneity. Merges in homogeneity. That means there is no one or two or different or anything. Homogeneous. Ekarasa. Therefore, the non-dual state of consciousness is something non-relational. Because there are no two, so there can be a relation. Different from the five moods. So in the five moods, there is an appearance of two, and therefore there is relation. Such what are the five moods? Such as the Shanta, Dasya, etc. Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhur. With the aid of which the limited human mind enters the spiritual realm and becomes bound up with God in an eternal relation. So, the nature of this bhavas is that these are five moods with the aid of which, the help of which, the limited human mind, our mind is limited, we enter into a bhava, and this bhava takes the mind to God, and we go beyond the limitations. Your limited human mind enters the spiritual realm and becomes bound up with God in an eternal relation. So first is takes to spiritual realm and relation with God, the world is dropped behind. Only when the man of the world becomes absolutely indifferent to all kinds of enjoyment. So if there is any sense of subject enjoying the object, then it cannot rise. But when all ideas of enjoyment go and the mind turns to God and relation with God only, whether of this world or of the next. So there are many people do so many vratas and hardships and non-enjoyment because the idea is that I will in the future life, in the heaven I will enjoy. But even that is not God. That is not allowed when going to God. Whether this world or of the next, and attains from the strength of purity. So that is purity, a position higher than that of the gods. So devatas belong to the relative world. He goes beyond that. He comes to the non-dual mood. So by any relation rising above, he goes beyond gods and comes to the non-dual mood. That is the relation. With the help of this, he realizes the attributeless Brahman. Very surely and clearly, through the bhavas, he rises and realizes the absolute reality, attributeless Brahman. Nothing attribute is attributed to it, in which the whole universe, together with God, universe and creator God. Its creator, preserver and destroyer has its eternal being. So their being, their reality is in that transcendent reality, and on the attainment of which the akim of life is reached. So when we reach there, then that is the highest point is reached. So he has shown Advaita Bhav, he has shown all the apparent Dvaita Bhavas as through them he gives up the world, becomes connected with God, transcends layer after layer, and finally reaches Advaita itself. So he explains now the five moods of Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhur, and the God attainable by them. By this, what we attain? Saguna Brahma, called God, creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe, who has some relation with us. And then we transcend. So he first is telling us how we get connection with God, relation with God, and how we attain God. Leaving aside the non-dual mode and the attributeless Brahman attainable with itself, so not thinking of that at present, we find the manifestation of the five modes, namely Shantadasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhur, in the spiritual world. So all this is spiritual world connected with our spirit, leaving aside for the present the Advaita Bhav. These are the relations available in the spiritual world. The object attainable through each of these is Brahman with attributes. So what is attainable when there is a relation? When I am there, Brahman with attributes. That is Brahman, creator, preserver and destroyer of the universe, who is all controlling, all powerful, and by nature eternally pure, awakened and free. Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta. That is the very nature of that personified God. The aspirant tries to know him by attributing one or other of these moods to himself. So the question is, you have to change yourself. God is always there. God is always bound with us by the relation that He is the reality or the appearance. But for this to come in our life, we have to have some relation with God, and through that we change ourselves. One or other of these moods to himself with relation to him. So relation with the world is lost, relation with the God is found. And he also, who is the inner controller of all beings and the repository of all moods, yes, in him all moods are there. We find in Krishna, we find in Ramakrishna, we find in Ramchandra, and the repository of all moods sees the single-minded devotion of the aspirant's mind. God sees the single-minded devotion of the aspirant's mind, and in order to help him in developing the mood, reveals himself to him in a body conformable to it. So he himself comes in that form. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tasatheva bhajamam. And we have seen this in Sri Ramakrishna's life, in the Divya Bhav. And thus blesses him. It is thus that God, who is pure consciousness, so nothing but consciousness, that is called pure consciousness, assumes in different ages various forms that are the embodiments of these different modes. So the avatars represent certain modes. Here we read in the scriptures, incarnates himself even as a man to fulfill the desires of his devotees, to love him in all respect. So he comes as human being. The nature of the five moods, how they help man to progress. From there now, we are thinking of the details of the five bhavas and how they lead us to that Advaita. The five moods are the subtle and purified forms of those mundane relations by which the human beings are bound up with one another in their daily life. So there is a great difference between my relation with my mother in the world, my relation with my brothers in the world, my relation with my children in the world, my relation with my father in the world, and my relation with God, either as this or that or that. What is the difference? There is no grossness there. What is the difference? They are the abstracted, subtler. Only that bhav, that relation, that channel is there. And purified form, because there is no grossness, there is no attachment, there is no enjoyment. So that is the very purest form. Purified forms of those mundane relations by which human beings are bound up with one another in their daily lives. We are conscious of particular relations with father, mother, husband, wife, male friend, female friend, master, servant, son, daughter, king. So not only that Panchabhavas, but so many relations are there. Son, daughter, king, subject, teacher, disciple, and so on. And feel that we should behave towards others in a calm and respectful attitude of mind if they are not enemies. So with particular beings, we have particular relations, and the others, if they are enemies, we have to deal with them in a different way. But if they are not enemies, we maintain a respectful, peaceful bhav. That is called the Shanta bhav. The teachers of devotion have classified those relations into five divisions. So all these relations they have been generalized into five. Five are not fully exhaustive, but representative, and advise people to resort according to their fitness, suitability to one or other of these as the primary one. Primary one. That means other relations also are there with God, but this is the primary, and attribute it to themselves with relation to God. So world is lost, with relation to God is our relation, and by this makes us change. For it is easy for jivas to try to know God with the help of these five moods or relations of Shanta, etc., with which they are always acquainted. So we are acquainted by the nature of these bhavas, so apply this to God. That is not all. Those moods which were formerly dependent on the worldly relations, rooted in desires, producing aversion, attachment, and other similar modifications. That is what happens when they related with the world. That impelled men to commit various evil actions because of the subject and object dealing and desires. Will now, when oriented towards God, help the aspirants advance towards the realization of God by their irresistible original impetus. Impetus is that God is attracting us. These are the channels through which we will feel that attraction. Take, for example, lust, a base element in relation to human beings, which is a disease, so to say, of the heart. It is always called as hridroga, and the cause of all misery. That is the cause of all misery. It will now keep them engaged in the desire for God vision. So lust, change towards God, will keep him desire of having God vision. Their anger, another, will now be directed against the things and persons that are obstacles on their path to that vision. So Krodha, in the worldly sense, takes us down. But Krodha is applied to those things and persons which are obstacles to go to God. Lobha, Moha, Madamatsar, they will now become mad. Devotee will become mad, mother, after and infatuated with Moha. The enjoyment of the wonderful beauty and love of God. Beauty. What is beauty? That which gives us joy is called beauty. And God's beauty is very different from any worldly beauty. God's beauty, the pure joy which it generates, is really a very different thing. Enjoyment of the wonderful beauty and love of God. Love is expression of Anandam. The object to be attained. So that is the object to be attained. We have made God as the object to be attained, and this love gives us joy. And noticing the unique splendor of spirituality in persons who have succeeded in attaining the holy vision of God. Holy vision, Sakshatkar of God has come. Then the man has totally changed. We see that. Unique splendor of spirituality who have succeeded. The God, the culmination of blessedness. The joy, the culmination of blessedness is God. They will now become anxious to have it themselves. Seeing them, we become anxious to have it ourselves. That is how the incarnations or advanced souls help others by inspiring them to have that bliss which they have. In the world, generally, if we enjoy something, we don't want others to enjoy. But here, if we love God, we want everybody to love God. Love is the means to the sadhana of the five spiritual modes, and the personality of God is its object. So the sadhana of the five modes are the channels, but love is the current. And the object of love is God. Different forms, that's all. Man has not learned to assume these five modes in his relation to God at any particular time or from any particular person. They are natural tendencies. Man has not learned from a particular person or a particular time. But many great souls appeared in this great hermitage of the world. World is compared to an hermitage. And many great people have arrived at different times and engaged themselves in practices for the realization of God through one, two, or more of these modes. So, seeing persons only, we get that. And having made the Lord their own by means of their extraordinary love. So, the love has to be extraordinary. God becomes our own, taught men to do likewise. So, seeing and learning from them, we do likewise. When we study the unique lives of these teachers, it becomes clear that only the love for God is at the root of the sadhanas of those modes. So, whatever mood, at the back is the love for God. And that the saved love has always for its object one or other of the numerous forms of the personal God. So, here we require a form. For as long as man does not experience the non-dual reality, so long as he is bound to have the conception and experience of one or other of the forms of the personal God. Our mind is made like that. When we transcend and reach the non-dual plane, it's different. But otherwise, we want God. But there will be some form and some relation. Love brings to an end the consciousness of power. This removal is the measure of the moods. Now, in the beginning, we feel God is all powerful, we have no power. So many differences we feel. But when the love develops, this fear and other factors get reduced and vanish. That is the main thing in love. If we appear to be loving and all we have fear of God, then that is of no use. We should never have fear of God. Why should we fear of God? A small comment I made previously, please excuse me. An incident I told, I will repeat. One friend from Orissa, for doing salt business, had come to Chennai. And he became associated with Ramakrishna Mission, and 2 years experience he had of Chennai. I also at that time had 2 years experience of Chennai, and we met each other. And he says, Maharaj, I have a question. Is there no difference between fear of God and love of God? I said, my friend, I have also the same question, staying 2 years in Tamil Nadu. Please do not mind. Tamil Nadu, maximum people are devotees of Murugan, Subramanyam, Kartikeya. The Vaishnavism and Shaivism has become suppressed. Main love is of Shanmugam. Maybe they might have Vishnu or Shiva love also. But they go to the, why I am mentioning is that they go to the Subramanya temple and punish themselves, do Uttha Varsha, sit up and down, holding their ears and punish themselves because they are afraid of God. That is in general in Tamil Nadu. I remember another incident. I went for distributing prizes to the talented girls of the high school run by Madras Mutt. And I told the girls, never be afraid of God, never. And don't feel a distance from God. Love God. Love some form of God. And do as you do for any person you love. Decorate him, make dresses for him, give food to him, cook yourself and give food. So everything you can do to come closer to God in your mind, to love him is the main basic thing. And I remember all the girls had become extremely happy. Otherwise, distance from God. So here, man has not learned to assume these five moods in relation to God in the particular. But many people, when we study the unique lives of these, their own, by means of their extraordinary love, so the rishis come, bhaktas come, and they have made God their own, and they taught men to do likewise. When we study the unique lives of these teachers, it becomes clear that only the love for God is at the root of the sadhanas of these modes. And that the said love has always for its object one or other of the numerous forms of the personal God. That is what is required. For as long as man does not experience the non-dual reality, so long as he is bound to have the conception and experience of one or other of the forms. When we try to conceive God, we get some form. When we make some relation, one gets form. Love brings to an end the consciousness of power. This removal is the measure of the moods. Removal of the consciousness of power. That measures how much love we have for God. When we study the nature of love existing between a pair of lovers, we clearly see that it removes gradually the consciousness of difference based on their knowledge of their separate powers. In the Vedanta Sar, this is mentioned as the relation which will finally reveal the absolute identity. It is called Paraspara Bheda Vyavartan, and Panchabhav of the Vaishnavas. They do not understand. But what is happening? I'll take examples and explain. Suppose there is blue lotus. What is blue? Not red, not any other color. What is lotus? Not any other flower. So this blue has removed other colors. Lotus has removed other flowers. But blue lotus, though together, are always different. Blueness is different, lotus is different. But when I love God, I am gradually transcending the consciousness of He is very big, He is very powerful, He is infinite. That is gone. And He is away, remote from me. That is gone. And I am loving Him. I am not a small man because I love Him. I am not a limited man because He loves me. So this love removes the difference between the two. This love does not remove other things. This love removes the very difference between the two. And finally we reach Advaita. Clearly. We clearly see that it removes gradually the consciousness of difference based on the knowledge of their separate powers. I have small power, he has big power. Similarly, it removes by degrees from the mind of the spiritual aspirant engaged in the sadhana of any mode his consciousness of God's unlimited powers. That means pair of flowers he has taken first and then in relation to God. Unlimited powers and teaches him to regard God as but his beloved according to his particular mood. Beloved father, beloved mother, beloved child, beloved friend, beloved. Therefore, the aspirant treading the path makes him entirely his own by means of love and does not at all hesitate to request, importune, or scold him, or otherwise show him his feeling of wonderful love. I am again going back to that Orissa boy. In Orissa, another incident I will tell. I had gone to that boy's place, Jajpur, in Orissa. And he took me to another lady devotee of the same village, same town. And they were playing. There was a famous devotee, Muslim devotee, Salabek, and his songs were very popular in Orissa. So she put up a cassette and it contained, "Oh Kalya, you do not know our problems. He is abusing God." And the lady thought, perhaps I will not understand the word Kalya. So she said, "Swami, do you understand what is Kalya?" "Oh, Blackie." In Marathi, incidentally, the same word Kalya is used, Blackie. So that is the difference. They love God so much, they are ready to abuse Him. "Oh, you are great, how shall I abuse Him?" Then you are not loving Him. You are not feeling Him as your own. You have not removed the difference between you and Him. So that is what Saradananda Swamiji is pointing out. By means of love, not at all hesitate to request, importune, or scold Him, or otherwise by some way or the other show Him His feeling of wonderful love. The more they practice, remember, this is spiritual sadhana according to Pancha Bhavas. The more the practice of one of these five modes enables the aspirant to forget the powers of God and experience nothing else but His love and sweetness. So there is sweetness here. Even in that scolding, there is sweetness. The more exalted is it regarded in the sadhana of modes. So actual Panchabhava sadhana, the more the difference is lost, the more exalted is the bhava. It is only from this point of view that the teachers of devotion have ascertained the various differences between the five moods and have assigned the highest place to the Madhura Bhava. So all bhavas have powerful to reach Advaita. But The more the practice of one of these five modes enables the aspirant to forget the powers of God and experience sweetness, according to that the grades are given. It is only from the point of view that the teachers of devotion have ascertained the various differences between the five moods and have assigned the highest place to the Madhura Bhava. Intensity and freedom and all these this importunation and scolding and all that comes maximum in the Madhura Bhava. Otherwise, each one of them is, as those teachers have unanimously admitted, capable of making the aspirant realize God. Ultimately, each bhav will take us to God. But this nearness is maximum in Madhur Bhav to begin with. So he is explaining Madhur Bhav, first Advaita, all bhavas, Madhur Bhav. The devotional scriptures and the life of Sri Ramakrishna teach us that with the help of each one of these moods, man can ultimately realize the non-dual reality. So devotional scriptures have talked about it. People did not believe. Sri Ramakrishna has shown it. So we believe. And we try to do that. It is known from the study of the history of religious. So Sadhana Swami has studied all history of all religions. With the ultimate development of each of the five modes, the aspirant forgets himself and feels happy when his beloved is happy. So the element of love brings one tat sukha sukhitvam. When are you happy? When the beloved is happy. I am not thinking of my happiness at all. I am ready to sacrifice all my happiness fully if the beloved becomes happy. Absorbed in thought of him, during the time of separation from him, he sometimes loses even the consciousness of his own existence. If I am separate from him, I will die. I forget that I am separate from him. Hmm. बापरे. कुठे गेलो? हाँ, तत् सुखे सुखे एकता अध्याय तार चिंता तन्मय समय समय अपना रक्षित ज्ञान এখানে ব্রহ্মস্পদের সঙ্গে বিরহ কালে তার চিন্তায় তন্ময় হইয়া বিরহ কালে when they are feeling the separation. Sometimes loses even the consciousness of his own existence. From the study of devotional books like the Bhagavata, it is seen that not only did the gopis of Vraja forget in this way their own existence, but actually felt on occasions identified with their beloved Krishna. That is the description. Out of viraha, they are crying, weeping, and then they feel they are Krishna. So the difference is gone totally. They have forgotten themselves. So, Bhagavata, Dashamaskanda, Rasa Panchadhyayi, that Gopi Gita, and the next chapter describes this. It is well known from the, please note down those who want to read. It is well known from the devotional books of the Christians that absorbed in the thought of the passion of Christ, some mystics bore the stigmata and bled from these marks on their bodies. So Christ was crucified, and when they meditate on Christ, from those parts blood oozes. Stigmata, that mark comes and the blood oozes. Footnote says the white life of Saint Francis of Assisi and Saint Catherine of Siena. One man, one woman, both have that experience. Therefore, we find that with the final development of each one of the five moods, the aspirant becomes absorbed in the thought of his or her object of love and united and identified with him, united and identified with him under the strong impulse of love, realizes a non-dual state of consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna's unique life of spiritual striving has thrown wonderful light on this matter. He practiced each of the five spiritual loving moods, and in each of them he became merged in the object of his love and absolutely forgetting his own existence, realized the non-dual reality. So he has shown that all bhavas lived there. How, it may be asked, can the human mind experience, with the help of those moods, the reality of non-duality, which is beyond all moods? For no mood can ever arise, exist, or develop in the human mind without the consciousness of two persons. So the normal man feels like this, and he has objected towards sadhana Swami has stated, though he has stated with examples. So sadhana Swami will now explain that the objection and answer regarding the attainment of the non-dual reality with the help of the five moods. Quite true. But the more a mood develops, the more does it spread its own influence and remove gradually from the aspirant's mind all contrary ideas. That means today we are feeling like that. When we go through the mood, we will not feel like that. Again, when it is fully developed, the concentrated mind of the aspirant sometimes in meditation forgets, I am the servant and thou art the master. And the relation between them. Narad Bhakti Sutra has clearly stated this. Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam Nitya Dasya Nitya Kanta Smaranatmakam Prema Karyam Premayva Karyam. Love remains, but the channel through which it is there is not required. And remains perfectly identified through love with the reality denoted by the word thou. The human mind, the eminent teachers of India say, is not simultaneously conscious of I and thou, and the loving relation between them. So, Triputi, Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam, I, thou relation. Simultaneously they do not come. I comes, relation comes, he comes. I comes, he comes, relation comes, I comes. Like that it goes on. It knows the entity denoted by the word thou one moment and that denoted by the word I the next moment, and because the mind oscillates quickly between the ideas of those two entities, there develops it an idea of a relation between them. So analyze deepest, go to the deepest and find out what are these powers. And Saradananda Swami is showing that to us. It then seems to be simultaneously conscious of those two entities and the relation between them, three totally. It then seems, appears, because of the quickness. But when the restlessness of the mind is destroyed, so the main answer comes because the mind is restless, quickly we go from one to other, we feel simultaneous. If the mind becomes calm, more peaceful, more calm, then we understand what is going on inside. So bhakti produces a sort of calmness also. But when the restlessness of the mind is destroyed by the influence of the matured mood of love, in the beginning excitement is there, but when the mood matures, then peace comes. Forgetfulness of one comes. It gradually becomes able to detect what has been said above. Detect that due to the quickness it is appearing, actually these are not simultaneous. This detects and then understand. The more the functioning of the mind is still at the time of meditation. So whole meditation stills the mind. And that is how it leads to Nirukul Samadhi. And there one understands that these moods are only channels. The more does it understand by degrees that it saw the one non-dual reality from two angles of vision, subject and object, and mistook it for two independent entities. Example, Hirananda, the Sindhi devotee, has come hearing of Sri Ramakrishna's illness and is sitting with Sri Ramakrishna. Narendranath enters and sings Manobuddhi Ankara Chittani Naham Shivoham Shivoham. And then he sings Jafar's Sufi song, तुझसे हमने दिल को लगाया जो कुछ है सो तू ही है एक दिल तुझको अपना पाया जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. So Hirananda says that he was saying I and I is saying you. Swami Vivekananda says I am not talking of two persons, either I or you. So that is how the sadhak understand that one reality appears as I and appears as you. The prevalence of the sadhanas of different moods in different ages. So, throughout the history, if we go, slowly, these moods were developed. One is simply amazed to think what a vast period of time and what superhuman efforts of numberless aspirants were necessary for the full development of each of the moods through which the human mind was enabled to realize the non-dual reality. So we are at a very lucky spot because all the ages have gone and we know all the moods, they were developed at different times. For the full development of each of the moods through which the human mind was enabled to realize the non-dual reality. When we study the history of religions as embodied in the scripture, that is the scripture, embodiment of history of religion, it becomes clear that a particular mood became the principal prop of the human minds during meditation in a particular age. Principle, others might have existed, and with the help of it, Many eminent aspirants of that age realize God, so one age becomes devoted to one mood. And a rare few gain the immediate knowledge of the non-dual reality of Brahma. So all do not reach there, but that is the goal. We meet with the final development of the Shanta mood mainly in the Vedic and Buddhistic ages. So Advaita is where they reach, but the mood was Shanta. Non-particular relation with God, love of God. And also the moods of the Dasya and the Apatya in the Upanishad age. Yes, God is praised again and again as thou art the master, I am the servant. And this Apatya is not in the Vaishnava. God is the father, I am the son. That is maximum. Parampita prayer is very much there. So that is the mood. Reaches Advaita. So that is called the Upanishadic period. Shanta mood mainly in the Vedic and Buddhistic ages, with the non-dual mood as the ultimate development of the Shanta, and also the moods of Dasya and Apatya in the Upanishad, Vedantic age, Upanishadic age, with the moods of the Shanta and the Dasya, mixed with motiveless action in the epic age. So Shanta and Dasya continued. Dasya mixed with motiveless action in the epic age. Epic means Ramayana Mahabharata age. Let Sadhana Sanjay also call it epic. Hmm. Okay. So Satya. Oh, English murder. We do not like to call them epic. That is the Western idea. I told one day. They are epics, Homer and Iliad, and they think Ramayana and Mahabharata are epics. And we translate it as epics. In the original Bengali, this word is not there. Directly Ramayana and Mahabharata are given. How else shall understand Ramayana and Mahabharata by epic? These are not epics. These are the spiritual history of mankind. That is why I was disturbed. Shanta, with the moods of Shanta and the Dasya mixed with motiveless action in the epic age, in the age of Ramayana and Mahabharata. With the Apatya and partial Madhura in the Tantric age. Tantric age, some part of Madhura Bhava has gone there. But mainly it is Apatya. That means God is my mother. And with the moods of the Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhur in the Vaishnava age. There these moods became fully developed. So we have to study the history. He has brought us to this, that we have to study the history of the Vaishnava age to understand Madhur Bhav, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhur. So a trace of Madhur Bhav has come in Tantra, but the full development. Beautifully, Saradananda Swami has gone through the history of all religions and he has brought us here. What is seen regarding the full development of the five moods in India and in other countries? So this has described India. While the full manifestation of all the five moods together with the non-dual mood is thus found in the history of the religions of India, manifestations of the Shanta, Dasya and Apatya only are found in the religious communities of other countries. Shanta, Dasya and Apatya. God is taken as father and master and the Shanta Bhav. In other countries, though, that means inside if you go, something is there. But as a society does not understand it. Though the songs of King Solomon, the royal sage, that is Rajarshi, expressing the friendly and sweet moods in relation to God, Sakya and Madhur Bhava are there, are intact in the Jewish, Christian and Muslim community. The songs are there in these three communities. Jewish, Christian and Muslim communities. The members of these communities are unable to understand the import of those songs and attribute a different meaning to them. They say it is the love of God to the Sampradaya, love of God to the Christianity. They forget King Solomon's song, One Kiss of Thy Lips. It is just like Bhagavata Surata Vardhanam Shokanashanam, Swarita Venuna Sushtu Chambitam. Itara time also is over. We may take it to close here or it has come back. Anyway, what is happening to the recording I do not know, but I close it here. Om Sarvadar. We shall take up this para tomorrow again. Sarvadharma Sthapakastvam Sarvadharma Swarupakah Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Te Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.